Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in again, and welcome to another Talking Point. Now, this is obviously a place where future millionaires come together to share ideas, knowledge, and grow together. So today we're focusing on one of the fundamental aspects of the wealth mastery system, and that is being the trust structure and the parties involved in a trust. So today we're very lucky to have one of South Africa's best trust experts joining us today. We'll be talking a little bit more detail about the correct trust structure setup. So now, if you've subscribed to the Wealth Masters Club, you would have received our informative Times article last week, which outlined a couple of frequently asked questions. And today, we're going to look a little bit more in depth at them and go through a bit more detail. So to help us today is Annemarie Schutte, the MD of Treasury Trust Services. So Annemarie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Morning, Damien. Thank you very much.
Now, Annemarie, as most people would be aware, a trust is made out of different parties, which is usually a founder, trustees, and beneficiaries. So is it possible, and if so, how easy or difficult is it to change the trustees in a trust deed?
Well, Damien, it's actually very simple. There's a couple of documents that needs to be submitted to the master in order to do the change. But basically, we need a letter of resignation from the trustee, and that could be the trustees with a financial benefit, or it can be one of the independent trustees. So letter of resignation is necessary, and then the remaining trustees will have to accept that resignation by signing a resolution. We also then just have to submit the last original letter of authority to the master's office, a couple of other master documents, and Bob's your uncle. And then the latest one will just be replaced by the updated version. And from there on, that is the letter of authority the parties will use going forward.
Now, Annemarie, let's talk a little bit more about the independent trustee. So I think a lot of people may be scared to have a stranger as part of their trust structure. So why is it necessary that there has to be an independent party as the independent trustee? And what security does the trust have if there's an outsider as part of their trust?
I mean, it's very important for the independent trustee to be truly independent. So that basically means the independent trustee cannot deliver any other service either to the founder, the trustees, beneficiaries, or the trust. So that's the first important thing to note. It's a very good idea to have your independent trustee as a trust specialist, and then we will focus only on managing the trust together with the other trustees. We will definitely have a very close relationship with the trustee, so there will definitely be a trust between the parties. We as trustees, and that will be the client as a trustee, and the independent trustee has a fiduciary duty to act in the best interest of the beneficiaries. This is a worldwide principle, which is very important, and that will basically always give the parties the protection that the trustees will in fact act in the best interest of the beneficiaries. If that doesn't happen, there's always recourse to get them either removed or bring a court application, but generally that won't be necessary. We will never act on a trust where we are not wanted. As I said, we are the trust specialists, so this is what we focus on, and we deal with it on a day-to-day basis.
And Annemarie, how much control does an independent trustee have on a trust? Can they make financial calls without the rest of the parties knowing, or does it have to follow a certain level of security between everybody?
Yes, Damien. So the independent trustee and the other trustees have to act jointly, and that's in accordance with the Trust Act. So that's very important to note. So we can't make a decision on our own, and the client also can't make a decision on his own. That's very important. So wherever a decision needs to be made, financial or to purchase property or just to manage it, there must be a joint decision, and then one of the trustees may execute on that decision. So it is possible for one trustee to execute or to sign further documents, but the initial decision needs to be made jointly by all the trustees.
Now, Annemarie, let's say you are unhappy with your independent trustee, or maybe some of our viewers who are watching today have trusts and they might not be happy with their independent trustees and they want to change over to a service like Treasury Trust Service. Can you change your IT, and what would that process entail?
Yes, Damien. It is quite easy, as I said earlier on, to make that change. So the first action will be to phone us or contact services. I'm sure Damien will share the full email address later on, just to make contact with us. Generally, we will have a first consultation just to discuss exactly what's happening in the trusts. And then we will require the letter of authority, a couple of other documentation, and we will also assist the clients to get the necessary documentation from their current independent trustee if they wish for us to assist them with that. All those documents will then be submitted to the master's office, and as soon as that new letter of authority is issued by the master, we will then be the new independent trustee.
Great. And now, Annemarie, the last question, I think this is one of the bigger ones that we need to ask. Obviously, tax is one of those things that we all are aware of, but we all are also aware that there are ways and means to avoid paying too much tax if it's not necessary. So are there means, and how do you avoid paying tax in a trust?
Very good question, Damien. So we are looking at the conduit principle. It's a unique principle to a trust. So in other words, you don't have that principle in a company or in individual's name. Basically, in terms of that principle, the trustees can decide every financial year where the tax liability will lie. Will it be in the trust, or will it be distributed to one of the beneficiaries? So in terms of that principle, it can also be distributed to multiple beneficiaries. And that's where the big benefit lies, because we won't leave the taxable income in the trust for the trust to pay taxes. And that's where a lot of financial advisors will advise clients against buying property in a trust, because they only look at the tax bracket for a trust, which is quite high on paper, but we never leave the profits in a trust. We distribute it out to the beneficiaries, and that way you will definitely reduce the taxes. You might not even pay any taxes, and all of this is done in a legal way.
Amazing. Now, Annemarie, unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. But if you are watching and you want to get more information, then make sure you register for our free online training, which is taking place this weekend. The link is in the description below, as well as some other details. So make sure you check that out. Other than that, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye. And Annemarie, thank you so much for your time today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Damien.